Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Let's get to the news now. Folks, buckle up because what's unfolding in the AFC North right now is nothing short of extraordinary. Rumors are swirling that the Las Vegas Raiders, a team that's been struggling mightily this season with a record of 1-5 and clearly in tanking mode, are exploring a blockbuster trade that could have ripple effects across the league, and most notably, right in our backyard with the Pittsburgh Steelers. What's happening? Well, reports suggest that the Raiders are considering trading away one of their top defensive stars, Max Crosby, the edge rusher who's been a nightmare for offenses when healthy, and Larry Ogunjobi, their dependable defensive end. In exchange, they're looking to secure high-value picks, including a first-round pick in the 2026 draft. Yes, you heard that right. The Raiders are gearing up for a rebuild, and they're willing to part with these crucial pieces to accelerate that process. But why does this matter so much for the Steelers? Well, because this potential deal could significantly alter the balance of power in the AFC North. The Raiders, with their focus on rebuilding, are essentially dismantling a defense that, frankly, hasn't been as dominant as they hoped. Their defense currently ranks 28th in the league, giving up around 26 points per game. That's a major issue, especially considering the fact that they're losing their anchor on the defensive front, Larry Ogunjobi, a player who's been vital in their trenches. With this move, they're signaling that they're prioritizing draft capital and future prospects over immediate competitiveness, especially since their focus is on rebuilding their quarterback situation. But let's zero in on what this could mean for the Steelers and our pursuit of excellence, because the impact goes beyond just one division rival. The Steelers, on the other hand, are watching all of this unfold with a mixture of hope and strategic calculation. They've had an up-and-down season when it comes to pass rush, ranking with around 18 sacks so far, which is decent but not yet elite. The thing is, they've been missing that game-changing presence opposite TJ Watt. And if the Raiders do indeed part ways with Crosby, who's just 28 years old and still in his prime, it could open up a massive opportunity. Crosby, a beast on the field, has a career tally of 52 sacks and 198 pressures, and he's known for his explosive burst, relentless motor, and ability to disrupt plays in a multitude of ways. His stats this season are impressive: 28 tackles, 6.5 sacks, 12 quarterback hits, and a PFF pass rush grade of 94. That's elite production, and he's the kind of player that could immediately bolster the Steelers' pass rush, especially with TJ Watt already establishing himself as one of the best in the league. Now, to put this into perspective, Crosby's career has been marked by consistency despite some injury setbacks. In Week 4, he suffered an ankle injury that limited his snaps. But before that, he was on fire, and his impact was undeniable. His presence on the field is a game-changer, and pairing him with Watt could be a nightmare for offenses. In fact, when you compare their production this season, the duo could combine for over 30 sacks. That kind of production would elevate the Steelers' defense to a new level, making them not just a good team, but a dominant force, especially in a division that's still very much a battleground. And speaking of division, the AFC North is evolving. The Cincinnati Bengals, Baltimore Ravens, and even the Browns are all formidable opponents, but the Steelers have the potential to be the division's top defensive team if they add a player like Crosby. The Steelers' pass rush has been a bit inconsistent, but with Watt's PFF grade sitting at an impressive 93, 8 and Crosby's potential addition, that number could skyrocket. Their combined sacks could push the team toward 30 or more, which would be a huge boost in a league where pressure on the quarterback is often the difference between winning and losing. Plus, their combined ability to stop the run would improve significantly. Right now, the Steelers are giving up around 112 rushing yards per game, but with these added reinforcements, that number could drop to around 95, and the pressure rate would increase by approximately 20%. That's a game changer, folks. Now you might wonder how this impacts the Steelers' overall Super Bowl odds. Well, right now the odds are shifting in their favor. Before these rumors, Pittsburgh's chances of making a deep playoff run were decent but uncertain. But with the possibility of acquiring Crosby, a player who can anchor the pass rush and energize the entire defense, those odds could improve dramatically, from +1,200 to around +600. That's a huge swing, and it reflects the league's perception of how vital a player like Crosby could be for Pittsburgh's Super Bowl aspirations. The Steelers have been building their team with a focus on strong defense, and adding a player of Crosby's caliber would give them a clear edge against the run-heavy teams and a formidable presence in the playoffs. What's truly exciting about all this, though, is the potential for Crosby to become the latest piece in what many are calling the Steel Curtain 2.0. Since the original Steel Curtain dominated in the 1970s, Pittsburgh fans have always dreamed of reestablishing that legacy, a defense that strikes fear into opponents and wins championships. Crosby, with his explosive ability and relentless motor, has the potential to be that kind of player, someone who ignites the entire defense and makes plays that turn games around. When you pair him with Watt, who's already a top-tier pass rusher, you're talking about a duo that could redefine what it means to have a dominant pass rush in the modern NFL. And let's be honest, that's exactly what the Steelers need right now to get back to the Super Bowl and reclaim their spot among the league's elite. Looking at the bigger picture, this potential move also signals a shift in how teams are valuing pass rushers in today's NFL. The game has evolved to emphasize quarterback pressure and disruptive defenses, and players like Crosby are at the forefront of this revolution. For the Steelers, investing in such a player could be the missing piece that turns their defense from good to great. It's about creating that relentless, suffocating atmosphere on the field that makes opposing offenses think twice before throwing or running. Pittsburgh has always been a team built on toughness and resilience, and adding Crosby would be a perfect embodiment of that ethos. Of course, all of this hinges on whether the Raiders actually pull the trigger on this trade. If they do, it will send shockwaves through the league, and the Steelers will be right there, ready to capitalize on the opportunity. Imagine a scenario where Crosby joins Watt, combined with the talented young core they're developing, players like Cam Hayward and others. Suddenly, the Steelers' defense becomes one of the most feared in the NFL. That, combined with their offensive improvements, could turn Pittsburgh into a real Super Bowl contender once again. Fans are already dreaming about it, and the energy in the city is palpable. The Steelers have always been about resilience, grit, and a relentless pursuit of greatness, and this move, if it happens, could be the next chapter in that storied legacy. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but what about the Browns or the Ravens? Sure, those teams are still in the mix, but Pittsburgh's focus has always been on building a defense that can dominate in the postseason. With Watt leading the charge and possibly Crosby joining him, the Steelers could become the division's worst nightmare. And let's not forget, the NFL playoffs are all about having a dominant pass rush. The teams that can pressure quarterbacks, stop the run, and make big plays in crunch time are usually the ones that go all the way. That's why this potential trade is so exciting. It could be the piece that elevates Pittsburgh to that next level. And as fans, we should be optimistic but also realistic. The NFL is a league of constant change, and moves like this happen all the time. The Steelers have been quietly working on their roster, and if they manage to add Crosby, it would send a message to the rest of the league. Pittsburgh is back in the game, and they're serious about competing for championships again. The team's leadership, coaching staff, and players are all aware of what's at stake. And if the stars align, this could be the start of a new era of Steelers dominance. So in conclusion, folks, keep your eyes on the AFC North. The Raiders' potential trade of Max Crosby and Larry Ogunjobi is more than just a roster shakeup. It's a statement that the league is shifting, and Pittsburgh has a real shot to capitalize on it. The addition of Crosby, paired with Watt, could be the spark that ignites a Steelers defense primed for greatness. Imagine a team that can pressure the quarterback relentlessly, dominate the line of scrimmage, and shut down opponents running games, all while chasing that elusive Super Bowl trophy. That's what's on the horizon if this move materializes, and as Steelers fans, you should be as excited as I am. We've seen the franchise rise from tough times before, and with these pieces coming together, it's not just a dream anymore. It's a very real possibility. So stay tuned, keep supporting your team, and let's see how this story unfolds in the coming weeks. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, it's that the Pittsburgh Steelers always find a way to come back stronger, and this season might just be the beginning of yet another legendary chapter. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this potential trade? Do you believe Crosby is the missing piece that can push us over the edge? Or do you think the Steelers should pursue other options? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Steelers organization. Remember, this is a community of passionate fans, and your voice contributes to the energy and excitement around the team. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Steelers news. We're in this together, and the best is yet to come. Let's go, Steelers!